Rescue 1, Truck 1, Engine 3, Engine 4, Ladder 7, and Engine 9. Respond to Echo. Structure fire multi-residential.
I'm completely prepared to tell my driver to disembark, and I will drive this thing into your harbor.
Stand clear. Push shock button.
Map 248, Fire District number 3, medic warranted. A possible stabbing has occurred.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the Debrief. My name's Kale. This is Terminal. We're going to start with a little bit of a story. So we've talked a little bit beforehand about what this might look like. And we figured we start with just a little bit of a call story. So I'm going to talk a little bit about fire medic stuff. Terminal's going to talk a little bit about street medic stuff. We'll make it a good time overall. All right. Terminal, you want to start with yours?
Hell yeah.
Go for it.
So one of the funniest calls I've ever run in my entire career was I was a firefighter and we rolled on a wreck on the interstate. Tones drop. We're going up there. They advise car into the guardrail. Victim's not out. Everything else. And we roll in there hot. We get out of the truck when we get there. We walk up and we see this man in some nice dress clothes and a woman in some interesting clothes. That's to say the least. And we're trying to talk to him and everything, see what's going on. Well, this man advised he was a pastor coming out of the western end of the state, that he was just offering this lady a nice ride and trying to help her get to where she was going. And it's like, okay. Cops was talking to him, asking if there's anything going on. They ran a record. She's got known history of prostitution and everything else. He said, no, I'm a man of God. I wouldn't do that. So we're sitting there and she turns her head at that point to talk to us and has the steering wheel imprint right here on the side of her head. The cop goes, are you sure? He says, no, I wouldn't do anything like that. Now, mind you, this man is standing there with his fly unzipped as well.
Jiminy Christmas.
I said, well, I'm not a smart man, but one thing I do know is your fly's undone and she's got an imprint on the steering wheel. So I'd say you probably were doing some extracurricular activities while driving.
All right. So what was the outcome? What was the patient outcome on both? I got to know.
Neither one of them got transported.
Uh-huh.
We left before law enforcement decided what they were going to do, to be honest with you, because it was one of those moments we didn't want to be, less we knew, the less we had to testify to in a courtroom kind of thing.
Sure. No, I completely understand that. So did they get an STD test?
I would hope so.
I was just curious if that was something that happened.
Well, they refused care.
Both of them refused?
Yeah, they refused. They didn't want to go to the hospital. We did laugh the whole way back to the station.
Okay. Well, that's not so bad. All right. I got a different story as well.
I bet.
So this one's kind of interesting, and it's fire medics. My volume apparently is way too low for them. Hold on. We got to try to fix that.
Well, why don't you fix it?
I'm fixing it.
Come on already.
I'm fixing it. You got to get rid of their stuff. Hold on, folks. I'm going to be up double voluming here real quick. And then there we go. All right. That should fix my volume, people.
They're screaming,
there.
Volume.
I know, right? Does this fix my volume now? Is everybody happy with my volume? It's back. Okay, we fixed it. Anyways, so fire medics, we always get nicknames on the fire department, right? So you're a former firefighter, Terminal. You understand. We always get nicknames. And I got to tell the story on how I got my nickname. So it's my rookie year, and keep in mind, I am a fresh medic, right? Mute my Discord notification. I can't mute my Discord notifications, people. Just is what it is. You got to deal with it. Anyways, so we all get our names somehow. And so I'm a fresh medic in my rookie year at my rookie station, and I get called to an overdose at a local eating establishment. And at the local eating establishment, this guy apparently had overdosed in the bathroom, right? And so I'm the only medic on my rig, so I'm all excited because I'm like gonna go get to do stuff and be able to save a life. So I'm stoked. We get there, lights and sirens. It's snowy out. I go in this bathroom, and this dude is like cramped up under the sink, right? He looks pale. He looks like he's not breathing. So I take his legs and I drag. And I start dragging him out. As soon as I touch his leg, keep in mind, I'm the only one in the bathroom. The cops, my officer, and my other senior firefighter are outside of the bathroom. As soon as I grab his legs, this dude gets up and starts yelling, "Don't touch my dick! Quit touching my dick!" And so I walk out with my hands up like, "Hey, I didn't touch his dick, guys. I was just trying to drag him out here to the football field and work on him. Like, that way we don't have to work in this tiny little feng shui of a space." So,
you were working on him.
So the joke started for a little bit that, the best way to check for alertness as a patient is to check for priapism. And that was my words, because I was helping doing training at the time. And so we check for priapism that way. So anyway, so my nickname then became Dick. Well, that goes along with another story that, swear to God, happened 2 weeks later. So we went to this guy's house, and he had fallen. He was complaining of back pain, right? So as per protocol, which isn't the best practice, but as per protocol, what are you supposed to do with the guy with back pain?
Backboard him.
Backboard him, right? So I'm getting ready to backboard, okay? And as we backboard, then I... here, see if that helps your volume, peoples. As we backboard, this dude says, "Hey, I gotta pee." And I'm like, okay. Like, again, fresh medic, and I'm like, I want to help this guy out. I look through the house, he's got a bunch of medical supplies, and I found a urinal. Right?
Oh, shit. I know where this is going.
I'm stoked. So I go get his urinal, and I'm like, "Sir, I'm going to help you pee real quick." So I help him get his pants down, and I hold the urinal up there. And I don't know any other nice way to say this other than the man was not well endowed, right? And so he definitely needed some help getting things put into the urinal. And so I'm struggling with this for a couple of minutes. Finally, like, again...
You grabbed the man's dick, didn't you?
No. Same officer, same senior firefighter. They're turning around talking to the family. All they hear me say is, "Sir, put your penis in the hole." After that, my name was officially Dick.
You can't escape that.
For the rest of my career. Yep, the rest of my career.
You can't escape that.
So people take pictures of me in, like, when we're cleaning the windows of the engines and the ladders and stuff, they'll take pictures of me and be like, "Look, I see a dick in the window." And that's just the way it goes. So
that is awesome.
Yeah. Otherwise,
that is awesome.
Welcome to the Debrief, everybody. That's what this is going to be like. So this show is the Debrief, right? This lives inside Medics After Dark. This is our community. This is our home. We have a mission to help change the face of EMS. We have such a bad habit of eating our young, and we are here to help people grow and learn ourselves. I'll tell you, I've not been a medic for terribly long. I've been a medic for 3 years, and so this is helping me get past that 4-year medic stage where I think I've seen everything, think I've seen a lot, and really reintroducing myself and getting educated. So, but this is just 2 medics, no filter, the stuff that doesn't make it in the textbook. If you've eaten a cold meal in the parking lot and called it dinner, this show's for you. That's what the plan
Absolutely.
is. So tell you what, go ahead.
And we're going to bring it from a street medic and a fire medic point of view. I mean, there's often times we view things differently. We do things differently. And let's be honest, for street medics, we all kind of like to shit on the fire medic. I mean, it's there.
Yeah, and we're going to discuss that tonight. Like, what does that look like, right? So, question for you, Terminal. What actually got you into EMS?
So, I'd always thought about going the EMS route, but I always wanted to stick to fire. I thought fire would be a good career for me. And as you can tell by my luscious beard, that clean shaven doesn't look good on me. So, I did fire and rescue, and then I got strictly into rescue and technical rescue, becoming an instructor on that side of things. And as COVID started, I was like, I want to go to the ambulance. So I went to the ambulance in 2020, and I've been through some hard times on it through my career in EMS for the past 6 years, well, going on 7, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. Being on the box is a lot of fun for me. Being in the back of the truck, trying to figure out what's going on with people, trying to correct it as best I can within my care, within my scope. And when I was younger, I would want to run everything in. You know, it's got to be emergent. Emergent is where it's at. But the older I've gotten, the more experience I've gotten, I've come to a point of, if I can fix it, then why am I taking the emergent to the hospital? If the patient's stable and I can stabilize them by sitting on scene an extra 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm going to do that. There's no need in taking everything in emergent. And that mentality has helped bring about a good reputation with the local hospital. So even our trauma center, which is 45 minutes away, if I key in on a in code and I say I'm coming in emergent from the scene, they know that it's it needs to go to the trauma bay. It's a good reputation to have, and it's one I've cultivated. But it took me making a lot of mistakes to get there, and I still make mistakes. But it took some big uh-ohs to get to that point.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's a really good point. Like, I think the textbook can only prepare you for so much, right? A lot of this learning happens in the field, and it's trial by fire, truly, for all of us. So, I'll tell you, like, my career started in the volley world, right? I did volunteer firefighting for 12 years before I even considered, or it was 10 years before I even considered going professional. And I was working as a retail associate in a cell phone store. I'm that guy that everybody hate where I sold you cell phones, right? And yeah,
Was it Radio Shack too?
I wish, right? It was actually a cell phone company. I was a dirty salesman, and then I became a manager of the dirty salespeople. I just hated it. Like, I hated my life, hated what I was doing, and I found a lot of passion in my volunteer firefighting. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a jump. I'm going to take a jump, and I'm going to try something different. And I started going to paramedic school and started looking for jobs. And I'll tell you a little bit about that transition in the next segment. But an event happened where I was like, this is it. Like, I cannot do this job anymore. And I ended up just trying to apply for an ambulance service, got an ambulance service. And a year later, I got hired at a fire department. And it's been an incredible journey. Like, the amount of people that I've met that have just been amazing, good, caring people, even the bad eggs, like, I absolutely love them. So yeah.
Oh
it's
yeah,
great stuff.
yeah.
So
It's
let me ask you. So,
go ahead.
what's something about the street medic side that nobody really talks about?
Honestly, the wear and tear of people just wanting a ride to the hospital. I'll be honest. There's a lot of people who will simply call an ambulance just because they want to get seen faster, and it used to really get to me being tied up on someone who just wants a ride to the hospital because they don't want to wait in the lobby, and an ambulance in my call in my zone comes out, and an ambulance from another zone has to come and run a actual true emergency in my zone. That always used to bother me. I've come to peace with it now. It's it's things beyond your control. You have to accept what you can't control and let it be. But also, I got a sweet little bit of satisfaction when we started putting people out in the lobby. This is something that needed to happen a long time ago, and it did. And the look of shock on people's face, the entitlement that people feel of, well, I came by ambulance, I got to be seen first. And then they're getting triaged and moved to the lobby. Even had a patient on my stretcher once absolutely refused to get off the stretcher and said, well, I came by ambulance, I will be seen first. And the doc said, no, there's nothing wrong with you. You can go sit in the lobby like everybody else. You walked. We didn't do an IV. We provide basic care. That's all she needed. And refused. I mean, adamantly refused to get off there, to the point where the cops had to come up and almost put her in handcuffs to get her off the stretcher.
No kidding.
And that's something that I just, on the street medic side, that I don't like.
Yeah. No, I get it. Like, you feel like a glorified Uber, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I still work the ambulance part-time. Like, I still ride the bus, and I work in a very, very rural service when I ride the bus, and I work as fire very metro, right? And it is, nothing else is more frustrating to me. We only have 2 ambulances for entire county. It's, huge area to cover. And when people call to get a ride just to get to the hospital, and then you take them to triage, Like, it's a little bit frustrating because I know that we could be missing calls that matter, and we're only 2 ambulances. So you have an ambulance come from the north side of the county. That's a 40-minute response time. Like, can you imagine somebody in a cardiac arrest for 40 minutes?
I can. I worked a county in the state I'm in that was one of the rural counties in the state, probably has been listed as one of the poorest counties in the state. And we run a minimum of 2 ambulances on 24s.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might only run 5 calls, but every call is, if you just take it even to the county that I'm in now, where I've spent most of my career, and the hospital here is still a 45-minute one-way trip, depending on where you're coming from. It's frustrating. And then I've even worked shifts there where we was the only truck. I spent most of my shifts there as the only medic in the county. And we have a hospital bed that's 5 beds there. And literally you have no cell phone signal in 70% of the county. You have no radio signal in probably 30 to 40% of the county. It is literally in the middle of nowhere. And you want to talk about challenging yourself skill-wise. When you get a really sick patient there and you can't, the weather's bad, you can't get a helicopter, it's over an hour and a half to a trauma center. It is a true challenge for you and your skills. And I grew a lot there. I grew a lot under that because you have to. That probably was one of the best things I could have done for my career, was work there.
Now, let me ask you also, if I'm familiar with the area that you're in, flight is a struggle because getting a bird to land in certain areas.
It can be. They've got 4 helicopter services now. One owned by the hospital system, one hospital system, one's owned by another hospital system, and one is not. And the other one is, of course, air evac, and they're everywhere. But
Sure.
Still, waiting for air evac's a 30 to 45-minute wait, depending on which base they're coming from. So they're not even a logical choice unless you're on an extended call.
Yeah. Nope, I absolutely get it. So, we'll tell you what. What's that one call? So this is the sacred cow that nobody wants to talk about, right? But I think it's the thing that we need to talk about is what's that call that sticks with you? Like, what's that one call that sticks in your heart?
So me and my partner, and I'll tell you the story, and it's a hard story, and it kind of ties into the birth of my son too. We took a bid call for that rural county. They would put out bids to help make extra money for the county, but it also made us extra money too. So we went out towards the west end of the state, and on our way back, of course, we both were working, and I slept part of the way up until we picked the patient up and took them to their destination. It wasn't it's only like a 45-minute transport for a 8-hour drive to get the patient and take them. But it was money that the county bid on, and we made money and everything else. But on our way back, he was sleeping in the back of the truck, and I will never forget this. I was listening to Jimmy Apple on a TikTok live while driving. I just had my phone propped up on the dash. And I greatly respect and admire Jimmy Apple as the EMS vendor on TikTok, for those of you who don't know.
Absolutely.
Very intelligent man. I will buy this man a drink one day before I die. That's all I'm saying. But he was talking about the culture of EMS and gatekeeping and how that has no business there. And I'm sitting in the driver's seat going, man, he's right on the money. As I'm looking ahead, I see a couple cars pulled over. I see a van on its roof, and I see another car down the wood line. And I hollered at my partner, and I said, hey, Cody, we got a wreck up here. We're going to stop and help out. And he said, all right. So he wakes up. He's throwing his boots on. I turn the lights on in the ambulance. Nobody's there. We get there. And in my mind, like I think as many other people's mind, I was saying, this is going to be fun. You know, we're going to help out on this wreck, make some friends in this county, high five, probably put some people on a helicopter. Yeah, you know, it was not that. It was nothing like that. We get out. There's this man laying, kind of leaned back like this, pointing at the car, crying, screaming, my babies. That's all he's saying. All these bystanders, like 6 bystanders standing there, and everyone's looking at us. Now we're 3 hours from home. 3 hours from home. I'm not even sure what county I'm in at this point. I figured it out. I'm not. Of course, we have no radio signal. and I left my phone inside the truck. So I go down there and I start immediately assessing what's going on. And I get down to crawl into the back of this van on its roof. It's a Dodge Caravan and a hole about this big. And I'm a big guy. And I was able to crawl in it. And the look on the inside of this van was as if it had hit an IED. The bodies were everywhere. Blood was everywhere. The structure of the car was mangled. It was an absolute... It's something you'd get out of a nightmare, something out of a horror story. So I crawl in there, and there end up being 11 passengers in this van, seated for 7. The only 2 people I didn't touch in this van that putting hands on was the dad, who was already out, and the mom, who was heavily entrapped in the front, who I had no access to. So I crawled in there and immediately started handing out minors. And I said, take them to my partner. He'll start triaging them. And there was a third adult female in the back of the van that had passed. And I was trying to maneuver her around. I finally was able to maneuver her out. Now, mind you, when I got there was nobody there, right? We're slowly moving all these bodies out. Most of them are alive. There's, of course, some dead ones. I got to a minor that was deceased. And I take her and said, she's gone. I need somebody to cover her as I hand her out. I was finally able to get to a 10-year-old male that was in the middle that I had no access to, struggling to breathe, but he was able to respond to me, screaming in a lot of pain. And I was able to get a C-collar on him to help him kind of keep his head still. We didn't know. I mean, they rolled in this van, I don't know how many times, enough to where the structure, the frame had broke. And I got to a very young child who I picked up after taking care of the 10-year-old male, getting him to where he could breathe better. And this kid, this young child, had some non-survivable injuries. And I held them close as they took their last breath and passed them arms. And I kind of just held this kid for a minute. It was very hard, but you're in the moment. You still got a job to do. You still have other patients to take care of. But I did take a moment and just kind of hold them. Handed this child out and said, "This one's passed. Please just get a monitor to verify." And then finally was able to get the 10-year-old out. And the whole time he's well aware of what's going on with his siblings. He realizes a couple have passed. And when I came out of the back of the van, the only person left in there was the mom, who they were still working on extricating. I was covered. I didn't even know it until someone pointed out. I was covered in mud and blood from my chest all the way down to my knees. And of course, you kind of take that somber moment. When I came out of the back of the van, there's 2 heavy rescue trucks. There's another rescue truck. There's every ambulance in this county, plus off-duty leadership, like their off-duty supervisors and director or chief, deputy chief, whatever they called them, were there bringing backup ambulances, responding to the call. They had neighboring counties answering their own 911s. 5 helicopters were landing on the interstate so they could take as many to the closest trauma center for them. And, just moving around, trying to help with whatever crew needed help next. They thanked us. They offered us to come back to their headquarters, which we went later on another day. Really amazing place. They told us if we ever want jobs, we can come back there.
Yeah.
But it came very close to ending my career. I can't lie. It was a very hard thing to work past, and I had already had my own demons I was dealing with. I was actually fired from the place I work at again now, not because of my patient care, not because of me doing my job, but because I was in need of help and I wasn't getting it. And this was kind of on top of everything else. I had already been drinking bad and was a career-ending call for me. Was a single dad at the time of 4 kids. Two of them were under 5, and being locked at my house with them was not an ideal situation in the days after. But me and Cody sat in the ambulance. We didn't say much the whole way home. He tried to say something. I tried to say something. And we just didn't speak. We didn't have the radio on. We didn't do anything. It was the most silent ride of my life for 3 hours. And we stayed in touch. We later went back for the debriefing. But between the debrief and getting back, I went to work at another county the same day the mass casualty happened. I didn't want to admit I had a problem. I told them what had happened. They're like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm fine. Everything's fine." The next day, I work a kid the same age that fell out of a moving vehicle on the roadway of the one that died in my arms in the van. After we offloaded at that trauma center, I broke down completely, like all the way down, to the point where when we got back to our station, I went home. The captain at that service said, over that shift, said, "You can't go home. You got shifts to work." I said, "I don't give a shit, man. I'm going home. I'm done. I am done." And then I get to my house. My mom was helping me with the kids, and she just ups and leaves. So now I'm in a house with 2 kids under 5, one the age of the kid that died and the kid that got hurt, and one just a year older, and 2 other small kids. You want to talk about a nightmare? I called my ex-wife, bawling, begging for help, and she said it wasn't her fucking problem. I mean, she wasn't around for the kids much at that point, but she said it wasn't her fucking problem. So here I am in the middle of a whole mental breakdown with 4 kids that were depending on me to take care of them, and I can't even function. It was a nightmare. It was the worst few days of my life. And when we got invited to go to the debrief, me and Cody went to the debrief. We left. We drove up in the EMS Suburban all the way out there. And he's like, "Well, I ain't saying a word to nobody." He said, I can't admit that this has got me fucked up." And I said, "Man, I ain't going to hold back." I said, "I got nothing to lose. I don't know these people." I said, "I can't even get on a truck right now if I don't open up," which we both opened up, and everybody opened up. There's 50 something people in this room, and everybody's talking. Everybody's opening up. Everybody's telling their part. And they made us feel like that we belonged there. What is really sad about all of this is going through all that with Cody and the things that we talked to with each other and was always supporting each other every day. This coming July, he died in a car wreck a year ago. So when that happened, it was almost as if I was reliving that again, because now I don't have my friend. I don't have my brother who I went through this with, because he was the only one that went through it from start to finish with me. Everyone else came in at some point and helped carry the load, but he was the only one that was there with me when we rolled up to when we got home. And then, of course, my wife and I found out she was pregnant, and we decided to name him. I talked to his dad, who's now the director of our neighboring county. And I said, "How would you feel if I named my son after Cody?" And he said that I had his blessing. And that meant the world to me, man. He left behind 3 boys, and it's a lot, but that's what stays with me.
Yeah.
And holding, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
You're good.
No. And holding my son in the Friday afternoon after he was born, I kind of sat there, and my wife watched me bawl a little bit, because he was, little did anyone realize it, but he's healing a part of me because he's here. I don't know if any of that makes sense. It just
does. So I think we all carry those wounds, right? We don't have to have that one call. Those things all build up.
They can.
So how do you, as a provider, a father, a person, move through that? It could be just
Them.
you're learning. You're learning
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. So I don't drink when I'm angry or sad or I feel anything. I don't use alcohol as a crutch. If I'm going to drink, it's usually socially or to kind of just chill out. So I don't really drink that much. Not nothing like I did. I mean, Jesus, I was drinking a bottle of whiskey in 2 days
Mm-hmm.
before that incident, and just since then, I've never felt the need to drink as much. In fact, I go months without even having a drop. I study a lot of Stoic philosophy and apply it in my life. People will misunderstand Stoics as emotionalists, and that's not the case. It's not meant to be emotionless. It's meant to be controlled. You feel your emotion, you allow your emotion to pass over you, but you don't let it control or dictate your actions. And that's a hard thing to do. I mean, it really is, especially when someone makes you angry or you feel so strong about it.
Well, and it's also about building resilience, right?
Yeah.
And having grit and being able to find good in the bad and the dark, because that's the reality. Is nobody calls us because they're having a great day. Well,
No.
except grandma when she wants some cookies, right? But that's the fire department's issue, not the EMS's issue. But like being able to build that resilience over time, and it erodes, right? And so I've always taken for myself, and thank you for sharing that, by the way. Like that's an incredible event to have to even relive and talk about. But I've always taken that bucket theory for myself, is that every call is going to take out of my bucket somehow, right?
Yes.
Even if it's the toe pain, it's going to take out of my bucket. So I need to be intentional with my time and do the things to fill my bucket. The people that are working 3-4 jobs overtime constantly trying to earn that dollar to be able to get to whatever goal they have, if they keep on taking out of that bucket, eventually that bucket's going to be empty. And when that bucket's empty, nothing good happens. You're going to fill it with something.
I use that same analogy with a couple new hires who are picking up a lot of overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking to a guy, even up until a year ago, where, you know, of course, being a single dad of 4 and then settling down with a woman, having to go from being the only income to a multiple income house kind of helped with that.
Yeah.
I always liked work, but working 120, 130 hours a week is unhealthy, mentally, physically, emotionally. Mm-hmm. And I've done it. And I've done it for weeks and months straight.
Yeah.
But you got to think about the mental wear and tear that takes on you and the constant pouring out of your cup. And I was telling one of our new hires that, and they go, yeah, but I want to work. I want to make money. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I said, yeah, but you're not going to do anything if you push yourself over the edge and you're out here treating people bad, or you fall asleep behind the wheel of your vehicle or the ambulance, or even further, you get so strung out to the point because mentally you get so tired that you make a careless decision that you can't come back from.
And for some of those things,
yeah.
For some of those things, like the thing that people don't think about, and it's becoming more and more common to talk about, is even if you're at the slow station, right? You're at the retirement station, like your cortisol levels are still jumping every time you walk through those doors, and every time you hear those toners, and every time you hear that radio traffic, like your cortisol levels spike. And there's been shown with people with increased cortisol levels having higher incidence of cancer, having higher incidence of alcoholism, suicide, like all of that, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to be intentional with our time. While that money's great and they really want us to work overtime because everybody's shorthanded, don't worry, the calls will still come in, the calls will still get answered. Take that time for yourself and your family because they deserve it. Like that's the reality.
Yeah. I mean, I went from working that many hours to the most I think I'll work now is 60 hours a week.
Yep.
And you want to talk about a difference that made in my life?
Yeah.
And you want to talk about being, so I've been at the retirement station for a hot minute now. And I, of course, now can no longer be at the retirement station because of things.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of dreading when I go back to work after taking some time off with my son being here that of course, now have to be at the busiest station. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be that. But it's a part of the position, so I have to be there. And it is what it is at the end of the day, but I still don't want to do it. And I'm kind of dreading it. I'm just being absolutely honest about it.
I would be curious if they did some studies on people that work at those slow stations versus people that work at the busy stations, like what the difference in cortisol levels are, like what the difference in that stress is. Because even though you're maybe not running calls, like you're not getting a good night's sleep. Like if you're working 24s, you're still not sleeping. Like, can you ever say you've slept on shift great? Oh, I've had a great night's sleep.
I mean, I've slept, but I don't think I've ever slept good.
Right. Because when you wake up in the morning all panicked,
yeah.
and you're like, did I miss the call? Did I miss the
Yeah.
toners? Right.
So we're doing we do 12s now. We haven't done 24s since 2020, and I mean, I've done 24s. I ideally I want to be on a 24/72 just because of that downtime. But we're on the 2-3 split, so we work 4 days one week, 3 days the next. That's how it falls. But it really feels more like a 5 and 2 because of the weekend. And even working nights, I have to be up during the day. I still have kids, so total with our newborn, that gives us 7 kids. So I still got to be up. I still got to, yeah, exactly. You know, and with reserves.
That's right. You got to have it.
That's right. And so we're in summer right now, which is great, but still got to get them to school. Got to pick them up from school. So that window of sleep that I get during the day is closing. And now I'm going to have a young kid because my wife has to go back to work end of August, 1st of September. So now I'm going to be up all day. And in the position I'm in, I have to be up most of the shift because of the way they call in transfers is via the radio. You want to talk about cortisol levels? Well, damn it. Cortisol levels rising. Every time I hear station 5, the next available unit, it's usually a few provocative words and everybody cussing because we just, you already know what it is.
Yep.
When we do so many transfers, we get 8 agencies that bring patients to this hospital. So 8 different counties bring patients to our hospital, but they won't come back and get them and take them when they got to go somewhere else. So it's extra work for us.
Absolutely. All right.
It's almost like a fire medic.
Oh, all right. Nice transition there. All right. So let's talk about the hot topic then. Fire medics versus street medics, right? And so this is audience participation is welcome in this one. But so I've been on both sides of the coin, right? I started out as a street medic in a rural service and moved to a fire medic. And let's start with the way I felt when I made that transition. And I got a really specific story that just really got my goat. So I'd been on the job for a couple of years and I was on medical leave for a little bit and I came back and we went to a structure fire. I was still on days, so I wasn't allowed to go fight fire, but I was allowed to go do medical stuff, which was awesome. So I got out with the troops and got to do the stuff. Well, we went to a structure fire at a trailer house and I arrived right behind the third due engine. And there was a dude sitting there with black soot in his face and all that type of stuff. And I'll talk about some of the problems with fire medics before I got there in a little bit. But I assumed patient care of this guy. So he had black soot in his face, was coughing, was snotting. I looked at the airway. We had a little bit of blackness right there in the back of the throat. And I'm like, all right, let's get him in the ambulance. So both services that operate in that metro area, they don't have RSI. They have Medicaid assisted intubation. So I'm like, we need to take this guy's airway before we get to the hospital, do sodium thiosulfate, which is like the, discount cyano kit. But we need to do all that. And we need to start thinking about taking this guy's airway. We need to get pain meds on board. We need to put him out because this guy needs it. So we have the ambulance service I work for. It's a not-for-profit, that works with us, is a not-for-profit ambulance service, right? And so they have turnover all the time. They just don't pay their people well. It's a good place to start, high volume, lots of fun, but it doesn't pay well, so it's not sustainable. So brand new medic shows up. I know she's a new medic because I taught at the college that she was at, and she was in school just recently. And so I show up and I go, hey, this guy, we need to take his airway. Like, I'm going to hop in and start doing all the stuff. So I start grabbing out ET tubes, the video scope, get pissed out at my DL, have iGel as backup, even though I'm not using that because that defeats the whole purpose of what we're doing. And then I'm setting up and I was like, hey, can you go ahead and get me an IV? I'll take the tube because I wanted a tube, right? It's been a while since I've dropped a tube. So I'm like, I'm getting the tube. And she's like, nah, we're not doing that. I'm like, what do you mean we're not doing that? I'm like, this dude's airway is going. We need to put him down and take his airway. I'm like, let's give him 100 fentanyl, 5 of Versed, because that's all we got. I know you got 500 of ketamine sitting back there. That's what we're using. Like, let's fucking go. Like, we're doing this. And she's like, no, absolutely not. I'm like, why not? She's like, we're not taking his airway. We need to get him to the hospital. 15 minutes away. Now, burn patients, confirmed burns in the airway, or at least black soot. We need to take the airway. We have any
Oh, yeah,
disagreement about
yeah.
that?
No, I've done it.
I holistically believe the reason she did not want to take that airway is because she didn't trust my judgment or assessment because I was on the fire side of things.
Maybe she didn't trust her own.
That absolutely could be true as well.
I mean, I've seen both sides of the coin with fresh medics. I've seen fresh medics that are quick to intubate, and I've seen fresh medics that are terrified to do anything more than an IV. And I'll even burn myself a little bit. I was on the quicker side of intubating than I probably should have been a few times. But in my mind, that was the best way to secure an airway. And when I have someone that's blue in front of me, now I know with time, training, understanding, education, you can bag someone up and get them back out of being cyanotic and get them to rouse around and become moderately normal, and then put them on a nasal cannula or a CPAP, get them alert, get them breathing. But at the time, I didn't understand that. And the CPAPs we had when I first became a medic were not exactly worthy of use. They had a lot of problems and they failed a lot. The CPAPs that we have now are awesome. I love them. I've probably used a CPAP 100 times more than I do an intubation now. As long as I can keep them waiting, talking. I've had people initial GCS of 12 and me getting them up and alert and talking to them and encouraging them and just continually engaging with them, and them get that GCS that I need to keep them alert and oriented and get them on that CPAP. But again, I had a medic that had been doing a job longer than me that called me out and was like, I'm not saying you're wrong, but maybe have you considered this?
So what has been your experience with fire medics? Like where is the rub? And this is brutally honest, no judgment.
All right. I love you, brother. So.
I know. It's okay. It's okay. We're going there.
Yeah. My issue with some of our local fire medics is they are not practicing medics. And that's the truth of it. They don't work in ambulance, or they haven't worked in ambulance in greater than 5 to 7 years or more. So when they get in the truck and they're like, well, I need you to do this, this, and this. When I was in the AEMT running the truck, I just looked at him and said, you're not going to do anything I'm not going to do. You're not going to tell me what to do. Now, granted, that probably wasn't the right response to have, but that was a serious issue I had is if you're not going to do anything more than me, then why are you crawling in the back of the truck to do the job? Of course, hindsight's 20/20. You learn that maybe they understood something I didn't and could have gave things that I couldn't give at the time. At the time, my state's AEMT practice when I was in advanced was very limited compared to now. So it was a learning lesson. But the biggest issue is most of our fire medics just don't perform. They do the bare minimum. And when I say bare minimum, I mean, they'll stand there. They might get vitals for me by the time I roll up. And I've been 8 minutes, 9 minutes. They've been on scene before I get there. And they still might have a set of vitals.
So let me throw this perspective at you, right? Because this is something I found when I made transition from the bus to the fire side. I found that I was always hesitant to do procedures that were borderline that the patient needed them, because I didn't want to upgrade a call from a BLS to an ALS call and screw that medic over, because I knew how it felt when the EMT comes in and goes, "Oh, do you have chest pain?" I'm like, "Come on, like don't upgrade this for no reason." I didn't want to be that guy, and so I would at times legitimately back off a little bit and be like, "Well, I really need to give this patient an IV. Like, they're a little hypotensive, but ambulance is like 2 minutes out, and I don't want to hose this medic." So that was my first experience with it. And I think that comes off to street medics is, I don't want to do my shit. Now,
sometimes
I'm not saying that's all fire medics, because I absolutely agree with you that there are some fire medics who got their paramedic to be a firefighter and they have no desire to do the medical side, right? Those medics need to just not be medics. Like, they need to go find something else to do.
Unfortunately, most of their agencies require them to be medics. And this is my thing. What benefit are you doing for your agency if you're mandating your firefighters to be medics? Now, granted, you might run 90% of your call volumes of medical calls compared to structure fires, NVAs, anything like that.
Yeah.
But they are just as adequate being EMTs or AMTs as they are being paramedics. And most fire services don't have ALS care.
No.
Ours can go, sorry, my nose is itching. Ours can go up to an advanced EMT on theirs. We have to sign off. Our service has to sign off on them. The thing is, with my issue in our area is paramedics ride, the highest provider has to ride the call per our protocols, our agreement with the county. So unless I'm working with another medic, I've got to ride the call. So why not go ahead and perform the skill that needs to be performed before I get there? And most of our firefighters, well, all of them really know that. They know that's the protocol. They know that's in place.
So they really have no excuse to not jump in and do everything that they can do.
No, they don't. I think it's just a lack of training, lack of consistent training. I mean, we had a medic recently from the fire side that said cardiac arrest in an adult male is 15-2.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. So as we're wanting to be that change in culture, right? So I view training as really important. Like, because my department, they do a really great job with fire training, right? We practice VES, we're proactive, like booster backup, East Coast, smooth bore, like that whole deal, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're very proactive, truck culture, the whole 9 yards. Where I struggle is we spend 5 times the amount of time training for fires as we do for medical calls. And like, that's 80% of our job. Literally 80% of our job is medical calls. So in order for us to maintain our certifications, we have to get the training on our own. So people, pencil whip that with, Target Solutions and everything else.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. We need really good, competent providers out there at the start. And then they complain when the ambulance is 40 minutes out. And I'm like, you're a medic. You should be able to handle this.
Be a medic. Step up to the plate and do your job.
Like, do we have all the capabilities in an ambulance? No, we don't. We got a smaller drug bag, but we can provide excellent care up till that point. That being said, how do we break that stigma on the street medic side when you have somebody who's a really good medic and wants to be a good medic, right? That's on fire, and they get beat down by people blocking them and going, nope, that's dumb, or nope, I don't. It oftentimes feels like they don't value your opinion because this isn't really your wheelhouse. I know you just want to spray water at the hot stuff.
I think that on the street medic side, we've been burned so many times that it has made everybody a little callous, a little jaded. And that comes from within. Like, you have to work on that within. You have to work on that culture within. That's something that when I go back to work, I'm going to have to fight with, is a change in culture for my shift, because the previous culture was extremely toxic. It was not where it needed to be. And it created a lot of division. It was everything's a secret. Nobody can know. And I'm more of everything's going to be open book. Everything's going to be out there that can be out there, because there's no secrets. There don't need to be secrets. So you want to talk about culture, it's across both sides. The street medics, the street side, that they're going to have to get over some pride and arrogance and quit thinking they're better. And
which, by the way, a lot of the time you are more skilled than the fire medics. That's the reality.
I want that in writing.
I'll admit it. It is. But it's important for you as street medics to then teach us fire medics the right thing to do and to be bold and be able to give that feedback. The reality is once we give the patient to the street medic, we don't get follow-up 90% of the time. We don't know what happened when you got to the hospital. We don't know if the nurses are pissy about you about not getting the IV, or if they are,
I mean, I don't get much follow-up either once I get them to the hospital, unless they just happen to reach out and tell me.
Well, you at least get the dirty look from the nurses, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's not something we get. We're just like, hey, we did a great job. High fives, recliner time, football, like all that,
Yeah. One thing I used to be really bad about not wanting the firefighters in my truck, because it was they're worthless, they're useless. I don't need these motherfuckers in here. They're getting in my damn way, that kind of mentality. Since the mass casualty incident, since the adoption of the Stoic philosophy in my life and using that as the principle to guide my path, I have come to a completely new mindset.
Yeah.
I don't need an AMT that's a firefighter or a medic to get in the truck and do an IV for me. I can do that on my own. But where my partner is a basic EMT right now, I consistently say, hey, do you want to do an IV? Just letting them practice, letting them be them. They're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, oh, you got this, man. And that whole just having that attitude has built a better relationship between me and the fire department.
Yeah.
So when I roll up on a call, they're like, "Oh, gee, thank God," and not, "Oh shit, it's you."
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just, but it took again me being humbled greatly,
Mm-hmm.
and not just from that incident, but being fired for being kind of an asshole. It tied in with that, you know. So I don't know. I think if you work hard to build, you get more flies with honey than vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that saying a lot, especially over the last 2 years, and I'm beginning to think that is a very true statement.
Mm-hmm.
So if you approach it with, we're all on the same team, it don't matter what color of truck we have or what patch we're wearing or what uniform we're wearing, it's contagious.
Yeah. We can't forget about our law enforcement friends. They are great Lucas devices.
Oh, listen, I have a saying, lift with your cop or lift with your firefighter all day.
Hey, all we do is sit in recliners and work out. That's that's what it is. But yeah.
By workout, do you mean this? Bag of chips?
Oh, come on. We are required by contract to work out for an hour each shift. Now, what that workout isn't really defined, but it's required. So,
I bet you working out. You're working out in that bunk.
Absolutely. We have masturbatoriums. It's fine.
That's right.
So, here's one thing I could ask from my street medic friends, right? We need to assume generous intent until that fire medic has proved you wrong, right? Because I think a lot of us want to practice. A lot of us do want to do the right thing, but we also don't want to overstep and screw you, especially if you work in an EMT medic system that you have to trade off calls. That being said, if you're a fire medic and you're a shitbag, quit being a shitbag. It's part of your job. It's 80% of your job. Don't just train for the fire stuff. Also train for the medical stuff and be excellent at both. I would argue that your job, you should be training twice as much as our friends on the street medic side, because you have to train for fire and you have to train to be a medic, and you should do both, and you should be
absolutely.
That's on you.
I will give credit to our city fire department and the 4 volunteers in this county.
Yep.
They all work really hard to train. Mm-hmm. So those on the city side that are career, they've definitely revamped their training and education when it comes to medical, and it shows.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna throw something at you.
Yeah. What you got?
So you as a fire medic, what's something we could do better as street medics? Because you asked me on that, what's something that y'all could do better? What's something that we could do better? Because I feel like we come in with a lot of shitty attitudes.
Mm-hmm. I think that's all it is. And I think the biggest mistake, and where that comes from, is we don't know each other as well as we should, right? So I know for me in my service, and I know there's a lot of competing priorities out there, but for me in my service, I just want the ambulance to come hang out so we can get to know you. Get to know what our strengths are and what our weakness is. The best things that I did is in my internship, I rode with the ambulance service that I ended up working on, right? Or that I ended up working on fire for. When I rode to that ambulance service and I got out, they knew what my capabilities are and where my weaknesses were for my preceptors that had me. And they encouraged me to work on my weaknesses. I think if we have time to sit down at the coffee table and talk, that builds relationships. And I wish ambulance crews would be able to come in and have that relationship with us. And I think that would make things 10 times better. Now, every system's different. That's not realistic or possible. But you're going out and having beers. Invite that lame firefighter, except the one that wants to sleep with all the new EMTs. Don't invite him. Like, that's not...
That's the captain, man. That's the captain. It's fine.
No, but
he's married. He's married. He's married. No one. He can't come anyway.
There are the weird retired on duty guys. All right, that just they get this EMT Snapchat, and I'm sure you've seen it on TikTok. The guy,
I've seen it.
It's so beautiful. I woke up and just thought you were laying there. Like, no, that's not okay, right? We're not going to do that.
Oh shit! I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But I think the other thing is engaging and get involved, right? And
I agree.
So that's why this community is so important to me, because it's a way to engage and get involved. First of all, making myself better, because I'm a dumb fire medic and I try to do my best, but I'm learning every day from all these people in the community. And I think it's really special what we've been able to build and what we've been able to continue to grow. So
don't feel bad. I'm still an idiot. I'll just tell you right now.
We all are. The reality is we're in EMS because we couldn't go get the cool jobs, but this is still a pretty cool job.
I have the cool job. What are you talking about?
You don't ride the big red truck.
That's because I don't need to handle a hose to feel like a man.
Oh, burn! Dang, throwing shade.
Oh, I got them all day, brother.
Oh, I'm gonna have to come with some more after those street medics. I was trying to be nice, and then you just sent it way off the end. I'll tell you what. I want to plug our community a little bit. So, a lot of exciting things happen in Medics After Dark, right? So, first of all, this is all about Medics After Dark. This is the type of shit that we do in our community, right?
Absolutely.
The reality is uncensored. We're able to talk about what we want as long as it's HIPAA compliant. That's important. We don't want HIPAA coming after us.
Hell no.
But 18 plus community, medics, firefighters, nurses, EMTs, dispatchers. We had a presentation today from a nurse that is a stroke expert. We had a presentation from the guy who wrote Code 3. Like we've had a lot of stuff happen in this community, and we're going to continue to grow and continue to get better. There's a lot of buzz coming up.
Yeah, Patrick Pianezza did a great job when he came into the community and did his thing. It was really awesome.
Yep. This is the place I wish existed when I was new to the job, right?
Same.
Just the ability to go in and ask the dumb question. Like, I never felt like I could ask the dumb question. I feel like I can come in here because, first of all, I don't have to have a face, and I can be like, hey, tell me about, like, I've seen a TikTok to turn over the IV, to start the IV, and that works better. Sure, I mean, go for it.
That and you have an anonymous name.
You can, yes.
You can, yeah.
Yep.
I think 21 years ago, 17, I actually started on the volunteer side. I think if I'd have had somewhere I could go to back in 2005, that I would have learned how to properly deal with my stress of the job and fatalities and the loss of life. Because as a 17-year-old kid, and I worked my first fatality wreck, I got told by my captain to suck it up or turn my shit in. And I kept that mentality until, of course, that mass casualty. So you got to think of how long, almost, I'd say 18 years of my 21. That's how I believed. 18 years of 20. Hold on, let me think. Yeah.
Math gets harder the longer you get in this.
I know. Yeah, 18 of 21. Yeah.
There's only 3 type of people that get into EMS. The ones that want to do it and the ones that have to do it.
I believe that.
He didn't catch it. He didn't catch it. I just hope somebody else caught that one. I told you, math is hard for us.
Yeah. No, 18 years of that mentality. And I wish this would have been here. I wish someone would have been here like in this same manner when I was 17 years old.
Yeah. No, and it's just, for me, it's just like cleaning out the back of the truck or cleaning up after a call. Like, it's cathartic to be able to go in and talk about stuff that you need to and be able to get some of the stuff off your chest without having to fear about what you're going to look like to other people at your service or anything like that. So, but I got something really exciting for the community that I
hit them with it, Kale. Hit them with it.
The privilege of being able to announce. So, a lot of you probably already know about Paced and Confused on Instagram. Are you aware of that at all, Terminal?
I've seen a little bit.
So he's been teaching cardiology in a way that, oh my God, it makes so much sense, right? It's the kind of humor and real world knowledge that this community runs on. So it's a perfect fit. So this summer, he's going to be able to join MAD to be able to teach ECG interpretation. He's a firefighter paramedic out of Florida, so he's my type of person. He's got a degree in microbiology. So this guy really knows his stuff. Like, he's way smart in the brain hole. Keep an eye on our Discord for details. You won't want to miss this one. The link's going to be in all of our descriptions. That way you can be able to see it. Super exciting.
I can't wait. If I have to, I might take a day off if I'm working just so I can be there for that one.
Oh my God. Yes. I have another thing that's pretty exciting. So we were brainstorming for episode 2, right? And so before we get out of here, we're doing something a little bit fun that we're going to need your help. And so this is for anybody that's going to join the community. If you want to be brand new to the community, if you found us on YouTube or Facebook or wherever else, TikTok, we're doing something that is going to be awesome. So we're collecting the most unhinged, ridiculous, only in EMS stories that you have. The kind of call that you get to tell at the station 3 years later is what we're looking for. It's the kind of thing that made you look at your partner and go, did that just happen? Here's how it works. So you need to submit your story to B-Town in the MAD Discord, okay? Keep it HIPAA compliant. We don't want any names, no identifying information, just the chaos. We just want the good stuff. We're going to read them on the next debrief, and the winner's going to take home some mad swag, right? Free to them. We're going to be able to give them to them. So that's it. No essay, no application, just your worst, funniest, most unhinged call, and a shot at getting your story told on the air. Simple as that. Stories will go to B-Town Discord. Link to the show is going to be in the notes. Just get in there, send it. We want to hear it.
Absolutely. It's going to be amazing. And there's more of this to come. I mean, we're just two guys getting together, and we met each other almost a year ago, and we have, I don't know, kind of just cowboyed the fuck out of some things and kind of had some fun along the way and some laughs, and we've developed a pretty good friendship. We talk I probably talk to him more than I talk to people I know in my own hometown. So
probably true.
That's true.
Probably true. All right. Hey. Brother, good talking with you. So we're going to end the episode
always
the same way every time. One word that describes the job today. No explanation required, just the word.
I want you to go first.
Hopeful.
I just read that comment.
For anybody that can't see the comments, the comment was moist. I'm concerned about you. I'm hoping it's humid, but if it's not, if it's wet and sticky, don't touch it. And it's not yours, don't touch it.
Moist. God, that was awesome. Okay. I will say
the next one.
I just can't get over the moist.
No, the next one came in penetrated. I hope that makes a TikTok clip. Penetrated.
Oh, yeah, penetrated. Moist and penetrated. Raw. Okay, I will say humility.
I love it. That's the debrief, everybody. We'll see you guys on the next one. Stay safe out there. At least as safe as this job allows. We'll see ya.
Run up.